talk about very successful weekend. You went into that, obviously not knowing what to expect for the long layoff, and then, hitting three teams in 3 days, and two of those, of course, ranked. How do you feel, about your team's performance?
It was a big weekend for our team. Obviously, we've been preparing for the last month or so here. Again, you brought up the break didn't help with that time off, but we got on the ice, made sure we were ready to go. Facing two new opponents, Adrian and Miami. You never know what to expect against a team you never played before. Obviously, we had watched film and prepared for that, but there were a lot of factors that went into the game where it could have gone either way. Adrian, that first game, they were basically virtually the same team as we were. Our goaltending beat out theirs, and that's kind of what won us the game. Miami, Ohio, a very physical team like us. They had a very good structural and systematic team. And at the end of the day, hard work paid off in those games. So we just outworked them and ended up with those victories. So.
What are some of the positives you saw out of your team?
In the first couple games, our leadership definitely stepped up. Our Sammy Joe Henry, Mackenzie Ballog had great weekends, and then in that final game, we kind of saw it where you'd think that in Game 3 everyone's gassed, it's going to be a tough game, but all four lines were going in that third game, and everyone contributed. Jordan Ivanko actually got the start in all three games, and she had a stellar weekend. Was kind of the backstop to the team this over the weekend, and in a Game 3 situation where we didn't know what to expect and how tired we were going to be. She definitely helped the team with that victory. So
Playing back-to-back games like that has to prepare you for the national tournament, right?
yeah, and that's kind of why we do it. Conference tournament at the beginning of March is going to be 3 games in 3 days. Nationals is going to be 4 or 5 games in 5 days. I scheduled the season this year kind of like that, so that the girls kind of know that feeling. Obviously, it's not five games in 5 days, so that's something that we still have to prepare for. And obviously, you can always be in better shape, but the adversity and the work ethic that these girls showed this weekend, going 3 days in a row where they were pretty close to perfect. Obviously there's still some room for growth, and there's some things we have to work on that we took away from this weekend, but overall very satisfied with how they did and how they competed over those 3 days.
The rankings come out, you said, later today, and you're hoping to move up, obviously. But how important is that to be at least in 1 or 2 seed? Does that help every time you move up, or how do you look at that?
Well, I've learned kind of just from watching teams this year that any team that's going to make the national tournament is going to be a team that you're going to have to compete against. I think from our standing, getting up to that number 2 spot, or at least ahead of Lindenwood, will help us out in the conference tournament. The first 1 and 2 get a bye in our conference tournament, so it would only mean we'd be playing 2 games instead of 3, which would probably help us in the long run. And then just being at the top, I guess, I don't want to say we'd be playing a weaker opponent, but we'd be playing a lower ranked opponent. But at this point, we saw this weekend Miami's ranked number 9, and they could be a top 5 team. So really, I think it helps us in our conference tournament. Whether or not it does at nationals, we just want to make it there, and knowing that whatever team we play is, they're going to give us their best efforts. So.
What are some of the areas of improvement you guys still have to work on?
I think the biggest thing we struggled with this weekend was exiting the D zone. Depending on the situation, our passes weren't crisp, or our forwards weren't handling the puck well in the zone, and that's just a timing thing and handling it under pressure. So definitely exiting the zone, working on our breakouts, those kind of things. I think we. Other than that, it was a pretty stellar weekend. We, like I said, we had good goaltending, a lot of shots on net. We crashed the net well. It's just, if we were to clean up one thing, that would probably be it. So.
In Minnesota this weekend, that's going to be a thrill to have them here, and what kind of match are you expecting?
Yeah, It's always nice when you get the chance to play Minnesota. You know, obviously the name means a lot to a lot of people, and some people obviously it's not the NCAA team, but it's still University of Minnesota. We played them last year, and those were close matches. So, kind of expecting the same thing this year. But I mean, we just have to go into those games knowing that, or having the mentality that we don't lose at homes, which is what that's kind of the motto we've had ever since I've kind of been in the program. And so just knowing that it's just 2 more home games and against a good team, and we're going to have to work for those wins.